Welcome back to Good Morning Football. Thanks for joining our show. We're on NFL Network and ESPN2 this morning, taking your tweets at GMFB. Everybody's excited. Nobody got a lot of sleep, but we're all in this together, just like we're in this moment in time together. These are tough, unprecedented times, and I'm urging you to support local businesses. You can get food to go. You can buy gift cards. You can shop online. It's really important to do so right now to support your community. If you want more details on how to do so, please visit, let's see here, Verizon.com/payitforwardlive for more info. The Draftathon continues tonight. Go to NFL.com/relief. The numbers are huge. The donations continue to roll in, and so will the superstars and the entertainment. You will not be bored this weekend if you are an NFL fan. We've been home, guys, and we got to talk about some things that happened last night and into this morning. But first, let's start with these Raiders and wide receiver talk. I know Nate's dying to talk about it. So a lot of people had them taking a receiver at 12. I'm not convinced a lot of people thought that they were going to take Ruggs. Here's MJ Acosta.
The Raiders used their first 2 picks in the draft to address some key positional needs. But if you ask GM Mike Mayock, neither selection was a reach. When it comes to Henry Ruggs, Mayock says adding the fastest receiver in the draft opens up their entire offense. Ruggs says it means a lot to be selected as the first player to the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's ready to prove he can do more than just run. At number 19, it was cornerback Damon Arnette who got the call. I asked Arnette what makes him, in Mayock's words, the most competitive player in the draft. Arnette says he's always been given the short end of the stick, considered the underdog. Even tonight, when most were surprised he was taking in the first, he knew it was destined for him. So after day 1, Mayock says the Raiders have gotten tougher, faster, and more competitive.
Appreciate you, MJ. Guys, let's play a little sign in or sign off with some of these topics. And Nate, let's start with this one. A 4.2740 by Ruggs that certainly helped him. Are you signing on or signing off on him being the first wide receiver taken in the 2020 NFL Draft?
I'm signing on. I'm not mad at it. And this isn't a shot at any other wide receiver in this draft. It just fits perfectly for the Raiders. I mean, when you look at the speed that he has, I mean, you complement that with Tyrell Williams, who has that size and is more of a possession wide receiver. Then you have Darren Waller, and he has the big frame. He's like a tight end that moves like a wide receiver. It's all about finding balance. There's a reason why the Chiefs are so good, because they have different types of receivers that fit a specific role. So, yes, they're going to make sweet music together. But consider that they're going to make music together, and some of the old cross-bone vocals of Raiders. Who's out there? Bone, Ruggs, and Harmon. I'm all in. Signing on.
Listen, is Ruggs the right choice? I'll answer another question. Do we have time to run Wasp? I'm going to keep asking that question, the question Mahomes asked before he threw it to Tyreek Hill on 3rd and 15 against the best defense in all the land, and he was open by 40 yards. Guys, you know, this pick came out last night, and everybody was so quick to make their Al Davis jokes. I did it myself, aldavis.gif. It's a pick that Al Davis would have liked. Listen, this is not Troy Williamson redux. Troy Williamson, the fastest guy in the draft. Guys, it was 15 years ago. Have you seen how much the league has changed in the last 5 years even? How much it is about short passes, quick passes, catch and run, here, this, that. It is not just your grandmother's chuck it 80 yards to the fastest receiver thing, and I don't think that's Derek Carr's game either. I think Derek Carr, get the ball the hell out of his hands, give it to Ruggs, and let him go. I know there were other picks, and I like CeeDee Lamb. I happen to remember Nate liking him better than Ruggs 24 hours ago, but I like Ruggs, and I think the Raiders went big, again, just like the Dolphins did at the top.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of the draft, because time will tell. I mean, last year at the draft, N'Keal Harry was taken before A.J. Brown. I don't know. You tell me. How did that work out? Andy Isabella was taken before DK Metcalf. Andy Isabella was taken before DK Metcalf. So I'm not saying Ruggs won't succeed, but time will tell. We will see. And I had CeeDee Lamb as my favorite wide receiver prospect in this draft. I had CeeDee Lamb as my favorite wide receiver prospect for the Raiders. And I think when they take Henry Ruggs III, it's going to be a great experiment with speed and talent in Las Vegas. And I hope it works for everyone. But I don't know if I was the GM, if I would be able to pass on CeeDee Lamb. I'm very curious a year from now if we're all just going to praise every single pick in the first round.
I'm curious what the fans out there think. We know you're up. We know you're watching. Let us know. Did the Raiders overdraft for speed at GMFB? For that, can we talk about the Packers, please? Please, they trade up to take a quarterback, Jordan Love. I feel like this is just deja vu from Packers draft rooms for me. So let's start with Peter and then Nate. Packers taking him, are you signing in or signing out on just that entire pick?
I almost want to hedge my bet, but that's not good for sports TV here, because short term I don't like it, but long term, of course, you can make the argument. You take your quarterback if you think he's the guy. LaFleur liked this guy. I could tell you LaFleur liked this guy. And when they were mocked to be having Jordan Love at 30 in a lot of mock drafts, including my own, last time I did this thing, there were some feedback around the league saying, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but they won't go quarterback because they're one game away. Truth of the matter is, if there's a quarterback on the board you like and he's still sitting there, go and get him. And in this case, they traded up to get him. Everyone's worried about Aaron Rodgers' feelings. I'm not thinking about Aaron Rodgers right now. I'm thinking about the Green Bay Packers, and they've got to think long term as well. This was the pick they made. I'm okay with it. They're the ones who are going to have to deal with number 12 the next 6 months.
Yeah, as for right now, I would love to have seen these guys get Aaron Rodgers some help at any position. But just like Peter is saying, LaFleur was sitting there and his pick comes around and those beautiful eyebrows just raised up and he's sitting there saying, wait a minute, Jordan Love is still here? Listen, LaFleur just got there. So LaFleur is also planning for his future. This isn't just about Aaron Rodgers' future. So imagine if LaFleur is drafting, he's thinking, okay, 10 years from now, if I still want to be the coach, if I still am the coach for the Green Bay Packers, I at least want to have a succession plan, and Jordan Love is that.
Peter, you're coming out and saying we as a show don't want to like every pick this morning and then saying, well, it was the Packers' choice to take him. This is a terrible pick.
Oh, boy.
This is a terrible, terrible pick. This is a great pick, and it's I would say, oh, boy, too, if I was the Packers. Are you telling me that this January, when Aaron Rodgers has them back in the playoffs and they're battling and they need a play, they need a stop, and they could have had another receiver or a linebacker or a defensive tackle, there's going to be a guy wearing a baseball cap on the sideline who can do absolutely nothing for him, and maybe the next year, and maybe the next year. This is when you are a game away from the Super Bowl, you're going to pick a guy who, first of all, is a huge project. We don't even know if he's good. And we may not even see him for years. They could have won a Super Bowl with this pick. And maybe they'll win a couple of games in 2024. I think this is a great pick for the Seahawks, for the Eagles, for all those teams who might face the Packers in the playoffs and beat them because their first round pick is holding the clipboard.
I can't argue with that.
I mean, this is a very, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I can't argue with that, Kyle. I think a lot of Packers fans are freaking out right now. And if you draft a defensive player, A.J. Epinesa, maybe you're not having Rashawn Mostert run for 6,000 yards on you next year. I would just say this. Rodgers was, 35 years old? Favre was 35 years old when they drafted Rodgers. Rodgers is 36 years old. They're drafting his successor. Can't always just have it the way the quarterback wants. And I understand it's not going to be an easy transition necessarily, but they like him. And that's all that matters. They're the team that's picking, not us.
Schrags, I am so here for the comment from Aaron Rodgers. Like, is he crafting something? What is he going to say? People are going to rip it apart either way. I'm so here for all of that. And we'll see what it's like. I mean, I see Kyle's part of the argument, but also him sitting behind Aaron Rodgers and even through osmosis, just soaking that up and breaking down that relationship and what that looks like over the next season or two. I'm very much into seeing how that all shakes out. More draft today on NFL Network. We've got the Draftathon as well, but who won round one? I think it's not a player that was taken. We'll get into all of that right after this on Good Morning Football.